Welcome to Moonfronts Gaming. Today we're gonna be checking out Playnite, this great launcher that you can actually use to access every PC game that you have, every emulator from every launcher, at least speaking of PC games. And well, let's check it out. First of all, you want to come to the website, which is playnite.link. Don't worry, I'll share the link in the description. We're gonna click on download. In my case, it's gonna be save as, but I already have a copy, so you can see right here, I already have it right here, but you can download whatever is more convenient for you. All right, cool. So with Playnite, you have two versions, which is the basic desktop version. Okay, so you can actually access with your mouse and keyboard. We're gonna check that one first because it's the one you want to use the most to configure everything else. After that, we can check out the full screen version, which is what I personally use with my Playnite installation from my couch with my TV and controller. Of course, it's more convenient, but there's a lot of granular settings that you can't actually access. So we're gonna go first to the desktop app, double click, of course, and then you'll see this screen come up that says welcome. This process will guide you through an automatic import and configuration of external game libraries, blah blah blah. You know what this means. It tells you that it's going to search your games basically on your computer. In this case, it asks you if you have any of these launchers and you want to associate your account. So for example, I have out of these, I have most of them actually. I have Amazon, GOG, EA, well, not really actually Xbox Game Pass, but okay, I don't have Battle.net. You just choose the ones that you have games for. Obviously, Steam is the most popular one. I also have GOG, EA, Amazon, Epic Game Store, and Ubisoft Connect. You can also have others, as you can see from here, Battle.net, itch.io for indie games, and then of course Humble, which I assume is Humble Bundle. I'm not sure if they have their own launcher. You can tell me down in the comments. Then we're going to click on Next. As you can see, it's downloading the integration files. All right. So in this case, if you want to import your install games from Amazon, okay, you can say connect account, authenticate. So that means you're gonna input your username and password on your Amazon account. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can actually log into your account here, continue of course, and you can authorize for Playnite to actually read the games that you own on the Amazon storefront, and you can actually download and install from them, uninstall them directly from Playnite, okay? But right now, we're not going to connect an account. Same with all the others, Epic settings. You connect the account, you authenticate, and then you'll see how that looks. Again, when I click on next for now, same with Steam, user connect. As you can see, it says import not install games. This means that you will be able to see all your games, all the games that you own. That means not only the ones that you have installed in your launcher of preference, but you'll also be able to actually install the ones that are not currently installed. You'll be able to see them from Playnite and install them directly from there. You won't have to go into Ubisoft Connect, you won't have to go into Steam, you will have to go into Amazon, Xbox, etc. You'll do it straight from Playnite, so that's very, very cool. We'll click on next again. Configuration finished. Not really, but don't worry about that. You can also skip that if you want. And this is what Playnite looks without anything added to it, okay? So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you how to add some emulators and the launchers, and then I'll show you a complete installation that I actually have right here. And you'll see what this looks like populated with actual games, okay? So if you want to add a PC game, usually what you do is you go into the Playnite icon right here at the top left corner. You're gonna go into either manually, for example, I'm going to show you what that looks like. You can put, of course, everything here manually if you want. Usually that's not necessary though. You can click down here and download metadata or metadata. Right now we only have one source, which is IGDB. Okay, but let's actually look for a game title. Let's say, for example, Silent Hill 2. Why not? Not 23, not yet at least. Okay. Really? Silent Hill 2 Streets of Rage. I don't know what that is. Silent Hill 2 the 2001 game. And there we go, Bluebird Team. That's the remake. So let's say I want to add Silent Hill 2. Okay. As you can see, everything now is populated. The features, the type of game it is, the genres, the developers, the publishers, everything that you want to see, the release date, obviously the correct name. For example, if I had misspelled Silent Hill 2 in some way, it also actually fixes that for you. Now you can go into advanced, of course, and you can modify more things here, but for the purposes of this video, this is unnecessary. You can just go into media, and you'll see the game cover was downloaded. Okay, you can also change this if you want, either add your own by clicking on the plus icon right here. Yeah, you can add it also from a URL, a specific URL that you may have. You can also delete it, of course, and web image search, which I believe uses Google image search, but I can't confirm. It might be Bing. As you can see, here is a cover for mostly the classic Silent Hill 2, and you have other versions. And there's a remake cover. You can choose one of these. You can also load more, of course. And we'll see later, but you can actually add more sources where you can look for this type of metadata and this information. Okay, great. Now you can see a background image was already chosen at a 1920 by 620 resolution. Should be good enough for most uses, unless you have an ultra wide monitor, which is gonna make it a little more difficult to find an image that actually fits, but that's for another video. I currently don't have any ultra wide monitors, so I don't think I'm gonna be making videos like that for now. So you can see here, Google Images, there's a 4K image right here. You can choose that if you want. Let's choose that, why not? Okay. If you have 4K monitor or TV, in my case, I have my TV right next to my PC connected to it. So if I actually go into my installation of Silent Hill 2, I actually have this background image. Okay, so you see links here, Steam, Twitch, Wikipedia, etc. All this downloaded from just choosing download metadata. Okay, you have installation. You can choose installation folder if you didn't actually already input that, or you had Playnite scan it for you. Right now I'm not gonna choose that, but I actually do have Silent Hill 2 right here. Actions, scripts. Now of course this is in most cases you're probably not going to use the manual installation unless you have, for example, an older PC game that's not in a launcher or anything like that. You can also scan automatically for the same reason, or you can also add, for example, if you want to add an emulated game, that is any ROM that you may have, ISO or anything from any system, you will go into emulated game. So you click here, and there's at least a couple options here. You have add scanner, which is usually what I use, or add save scanner. You can save a scanner with all the options, so you don't have to do this each and every time. For example, you want to add, say, for example, PS2 games from your PS2 library, okay? You probably already have a scanner that has the emulator that you want to use, etc. In this case, we're gonna click on add scanner, scan with emulator. Now, I didn't put any emulators in this installation, okay? But you can actually choose a list here from the ones that you have. For example, since I was talking about PS2 games, let's say, for example, you want to choose PCSX2, which is obviously the most popular PS2 emulator out there. You can choose it from here, or you might have a custom installation of it for some modded PS2 games, for example. That's an option too. And then the profile that you can also choose. Usually it's default, unless, for example, let's say, for example, you have one of those emulators. I have a Canary version. That's like an experimental version. You can have separate profiles for that emulator. For example, you want a game to run with the default profile and another one that runs with Canary because it runs better with the Canary version. You can choose that in profile. And scan folder, you, for example, go into my library. I actually have games here. You can choose a folder, select folder, and it'll scan the folders for you. It'll show you every game that's not currently added to Playnite that fits the profile of being, for example, a PS2 game that works with PCSX2 with the default profile, which means that if you have anything else there that doesn't fit the criteria, like for example the PC Engine games I was just showing, it will not actually find them. Okay, so it will only show you those PS2 games. Again, this is an example. Those PS2 games you were searching for, you can actually click on each one of them and add them. Okay. Then of course you can get more granular here, exclude patterns from checksum scans, a little more advanced, then exclude online files from scan. You can usually just leave these by default and you'll be fine. There's so much you can do in Playnite as well. You can actually go into settings, you can change the appearance. There's a lot of different themes out there. You can get them from right here, you can get them from Reddit, pretty much anywhere really. But for the purpose of this video, we'll click on create more themes. And as you can see, there's a lot of themes created by the community. A lot of them are for the for the full screen version that you can use with a controller, like this one, like Days. You can also configure these themes. Some of them come with their own sound effects, which is really cool. And yeah, basically what you add is just what you do is just download. And in my case, for example, already asks me if I want to open it with Playnite desktop application, or you can just choose to download it normally. If you already have Playnite installed on your PC, same as with any other application, at least on Windows 10, 11, it'll already detect that you have that installed and ask you to open it with that application. Okay, so you can change the font or the appearance. You can change pretty much everything here. General, for example, you have these settings. You have advanced, the icons, the font size, as I said before, text rendering mode. There's a lot of options here. You can probably leave these mostly in default, but if you want to really get into that, you can. Details, same as before. You can actually see you can actually choose which game fields appear. If you don't want, for example, the publisher and features to appear, you can do that. You can take them out, click save, and you're done. As you can see, time play is always on by default. But anyway, you also have a grid view here. I'll show you in a moment in the completed installation that I have. Layout, you can change all of these things, but it's not mandatory. You can just leave most of these at default, okay? Including the theme, of course. They have search, updated, metadata. Now, this is where you can actually add more sources for Playnite to look, for example, for game covers, game information, such as, for example, Wikipedia, Moby Games, all those sources. You can apply them to all, or for example, only to some. There's a lot of more advanced features, such as, for example, scripts that you can add yourself if you really want to. I don't use any custom scripts myself, but there are some out there. You can also find them on the communities if you want, but again, that's not mandatory. Also performance, for example, if you have a slower computer, you can actually, for example, disable asynchronous image loading. And there are some other settings for that. Image rendering, scalar, balance. I'm gonna set it to quality. Now this, of course, is the quality of the image. That is, for example, game covers. If you want it to be balanced, quality. As you can see here, quality, best image quality, slow, high memory usage, okay? If you have an older computer, you can probably choose balance or alternative. As you can see, better quality, medium speed, low memory usage. That's up to you. With most computers, you should be able to just use quality. Even if you are in an older laptop, it should not be a problem. But in such a case, if you're not sure, you can always choose balance. For now, we're gonna cancel. I didn't change anything relevant. Now here you also have the statistics, and these can get popular the more you add things, okay? So now I'm going to show you what a complete installation looks like. I'll play nice so you can have an idea what things can look like. I'm gonna go straight into full screen mode, and I'm gonna have to grab a controller for this. Okay, it's loading right now. My full installation can be a little bit slower because it has a lot more stuff in it. See, Remix is the theme that I'm currently using. As you can see, This kind of looks like a mix of the PS5 UI and a couple other things. Now, when you add certain games, especially PC games, they usually automatically have a trailer of some sort played on them. Okay, so let's show you, for example, like Callisto Protocol right here. We wait a couple of seconds. So you can see it's a trailer playing, it'll play again, you can also mute it.
One life sign detected.
We're gonna be muting this, but you can actually maximize the image if you want. It's not gonna be the highest resolution, but you know, it works. The effect is really cool. Minimize it again. And now here, as you can see, this is the full screen version of Playnite, of course. You can actually play, or you have other settings. Play, add to favorites, you can actually make your own playlist for games. You can hide a game if you want. You can edit some fields, not as many as you can in the desktop mode, but you still can. Then you can actually remove it or uninstall it. I believe, yeah, this is the Epic Store version that I have. So if I click on uninstall, it'll straight up open the Epic launcher and uninstall the game. And then after a few minutes, I have it set up so at the launcher, once there's no activity coming from it, it will close itself automatically, which is really cool. Also, you can see, for example, I have a couple add-ons here. Like, for example, it says completion status played. If you ever been to the website how to, or how long to, I believe it is, which tells you how long a game is. Okay, I actually have that add-on, but it doesn't apply to every single game. Some games show it, some don't. I'm not entirely sure why. But anyway, I'm gonna show you some other settings here. You see, for example, I have filters here. You have the install games, but you can also show the not install games. So let's do that. So not installed, I'm gonna uncheck installed. Library, this is where you choose, for example, your launcher. In my case, it's only set up for launchers. So for example, I only want to see the games I don't currently have installed from my Steam library. Okay, we're gonna get out of here. Will be, well, I'm using an Xbox controller, and as you can see, it has a download symbol in there, so you can actually install these games straight up from here. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, for example, I want to install Alien Isolation. Classic game. I just click on install. And it's currently opening Steam. It already asked me on which drive I want to install, as you can see. Okay, you can actually click on install and it will start installing from within Steam. Once the game is installed, we're not going to do that right now. It'll eventually show up right here on Playnite. Same thing if I went, for example, and uninstall the game, Playnite will actually automatically filter it out from the list.
Peggy
and it won't
18.
not be showing up. Let's mute the trailers again. Okay. Now you can also change the view horizontal like this. Now this is especially in the current theme that I'm using, Remix. You can also change to this, to a grid view, so you can see every single game that you have. Okay, in my case, using Remix, I also have all my platforms down here. So Windows, which is PC games, of course, Arcade, which is arcade emulation, as you can see, they're right here. That's a lot of games. And then Xbox 360 and other systems that shall remain nameless. And yeah, you can choose it like this. I always use this mode, but when it's, for example, for older consoles where I have a lot of different ROMs, I use this grid view to faster scroll, to be able to scroll faster by them. Okay, Now you'll see also there are some controls here. For example, as I said, I'm using an Xbox controller, an Xbox One controller. So for example, if I go into, say, Genesis, for example, I have a lot of games here. I want to go to a game that starts with the letter U, for example. Well, that's way too far. There's like 600 games in here. So how can we do that a little bit faster at least? Well, if you're using an Xbox controller, you can just use the left and right triggers to scroll by faster. So for example, if I press the right trigger, start scrolling much faster in the letters. As you can see, we're already in S, T, V. I guess there's no games with U. Yeah, actually, yeah. Right here. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for some reason showing up twice. Now, of course, if you want to add a lot of games, it can be a little bit time consuming, but most of it's automated. Playnite updates itself automatically as well. Updates all your extensions. And pretty much everything you need. Let's go back up. I want to go back to this kind of view. And again, you can also sort by name, ascending, filter presets, and you can get more granular as well here. Gonna go to the default. Oh, it's already on default. Okay, great. Install. Okay. Now, if I press back on an Xbox controller, you can see more settings here. Okay. You can add the game library. For example, if you're adding an item and it isn't showing up, you can try clicking here, and sometimes it will show up. It will show the actual new game that you installed or added. You can exit Playnite. You can switch to desktop mode, which we will do in a second. You can actually turn off your PC from here. I have done this from my TV. I have Playnite to start with Windows, so when I don't feel like using my computer for anything else but games, I turn off my monitor, go into my TV, turn on my controller, and sit on the couch, and that's it. It's almost the closest thing to a console-like experience. And remember that Playnite is free. There are other options, but of course they're paid. By the way, this video isn't sponsored or anything like that, so yeah, I'm not getting paid by anyone. You guys will restart your system, and then you have other options here, support on Patreon. I would advise that you do if you like this, because it's awesome. In this case, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to switch to desktop mode. Great. Now, you can see here every platform to the side. Let me leave this Xbox controller. Now, these are the platforms that I have, okay? And these are some of the extensions that I have. So you can see, for example, Steam will actually let you sign into your Steam account and access everything from here without actually opening Steam separately in your actual Windows installation, okay? Which I find really cool. Of course, it's a web access, so it's kind of like accessing Steam from your browser, but, you know, more convenience right here. So you can see you can access this version of the theme like this. This is also a custom theme, by the way, that I downloaded from somewhere, I believe from Playnite themselves. There's a lot of options. I don't remember what this is anymore. So retro achievements. Okay, yes. It shows you your retro achievements. If you have an account, remember you can create that for free for the emulators that support them. I love retro achievements. This extension is called Success Story, that shows you all the icons right here to the side. Go into your library. If you want to see every single game that you have, how long to beat, it takes you for them, the remaining time to beat, time play, etc, etc, etc. Now, this isn't always 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. It depends on the game, really. We're gonna go back to the basic options, okay? So for example, I believe this is a PS3 game. Yeah. As you can see, it's way too many options. You're probably not gonna use most of them, okay? But similar as I showed you in the full screen mode, you have installed, match of filters, not installed, etc. You can filter by platform, by library, by name, by genre, release year, etc. If we want to edit options, for example, let's say I want to edit which emulator opens when I click on this game. So we go here into a little pencil icon. As you can see the screen again. Okay, here's a description. I'm going to show you the rest of the metadata. As you can see, I have more options here. I have Steam Grid, Database, Steam Tags, Steam Store, Wikipedia, PC Gaming Wiki, Moby Games, Launchbox, which is the other paid launcher, which is really cool, but you know, if you want the full experience, it's paid. So yeah, you have IGN, IGDB, GameTDB. Okay, as I showed before, platform, game name, etc., release date, etc. Now, for example, in installation, this being an emulated game, so you can see here, here's the path, the install directory file. In this case, an eboot because it's a PS3 game. You can go into actions. So this is what happens when I click on this. What happens? Since it's not a PC game, of course, it's going to open the PS3 emulator RPCS3. Profile default, I don't have any other for RPCS3. You can override the arguments. Usually you're not gonna be using this very often. Type emulator, because if you change this to file, link, or script, it's not gonna work. All right. And again, scripts, if you want to go into this, you can. I don't. So yeah, unless it's strictly necessary. So for example, if I go here into, let's say, for example, well, yeah, 1942, why not? It should open RPCS3. Let's see. Well, what do you know? I think it's opening the game in my other monitor, which is my TV. Let's move it over here. As you can see, yep. Full screen. There we go. We're gonna mute for now, but yeah, it's currently launching the game just as it should. Now, in order to exit an emulator, this depends on the emulator. So for example, on RPCS3, you can have a hotkey configured on your controller. In my case, I have the Xbox button configured. You click on it, and you have these full screen options. So I will go into exit game. There we go. And RPCS3's case, it might not close itself. So if you're playing in full screen mode from your couch, might be a little bit more uncomfortable to close it. The solution that I currently have, I use this application right here called Controller Companion. You can get it on Steam. It's very cheap, usually less than $5 in most regions. I believe it's no longer being updated, but really, you don't need it. Don't worry, it works perfect. So for example, this is my actual mouse, and this is my Xbox controller controlling the mouse. Okay, so you can set up anything. In my case, I have set up Alt F4. So that's a combination of buttons, which I'm gonna use right now. And it closes the emulator, okay? Otherwise, of course, you can just close it with your mouse. Or if you have a Bluetooth mouse or anything wireless from your couch, you can also do that, and that's it. Simple. With every single other emulator is going to be the same. And again, this is just showing the emulators, and that's PC Windows right here. These are my PC games, all from different launchers. For example, Mass Effect Legendary Edition from EA, the EA launcher. God of War Ragnarok, I believe it's on Steam that I have it. Callisto Protocol on Epic. They will all start straight from here. I don't have to go and open Steam or Epic. I left Steam open, but I can actually close it. I don't currently have any other launcher open. And they will open once I choose to open any of these games. So as you can see, you can really go to town here configuring absolutely everything, okay? I once again going to add a game, so we're gonna add an emulated game, which is a little bit more complex sometimes. Show you again to add a scanner. This time you'll be able to see all the options that I have, okay? For example, with Xenia, the Xbox 360 emulator, you have Xenia and Xenia Canary, okay? So for example, let's say you have a game that works better with Xenia Canary than Xenia Master. Okay, you can just choose the emulator Xenia Canary. Profile is going to be Canary. You go to scan folder. In my case, I don't quite remember where my 360 games are. right here. Okay, so here's my 360 games. I can select the folder, start scan, and it will probably not show me anything because I do already have them added, or it might because I just remembered that I misconfigured something with Senior Manager. So yeah, as you can see, it's already scanned the games. We're not gonna wait for that right now, okay? Because I actually have quite a few. Believe it or not, I took the job very long time to actually copy all my original games from a drive years ago to my computer, and it was a pain in the butt. So hopefully this helps you see what you can do with Playnite. There's so much you can do with it. Some of the coolest software that I ever used, without it being, for example, Batocera or a whole operating system, that actually allows you to have the ease of use of choosing whichever game that you want from whichever emulator for whichever PC launcher, without actually having to open each and every launcher, each and every emulator, etc. Okay, hopefully you find this helpful, found it informative, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.